A very warm welcome to all our viewers back home to this special on Indian cricket, which has in fact touched new lows perhaps on this tour to England. I'm Shivani Gupta from London. With me is our consulting editor Boria Majumdar, and we'll take a look at just what is going so horribly wrong for Indian cricket, especially overseas. You're watching our special Back to Lambs Abroad. It's been a disastrous tour, as I mentioned. Absolutely everything that could go wrong went wrong for India on this tour. The batting was listless, the fielding was shoddy, and even Captain Dhoni himself quite uninspirational when it came to leading the side.
What Shivani just said, that everything could go wrong went wrong, has actually been continuing for 4 years now. In 2011, we heard these very words from Captain Dhoni. We heard him say the same thing to us in Australia. The fact is, you and I, the ordinary viewer, the fan, the analyst, the journalist, everyone turns up with hope and everyone is let down. In batting, after Lords, it's unbelievable and unreal to know that India did not cross 150 many times. In bowling, we keep conceding 400 and our slip catching is a joke. The fact is, and unfortunately so, that we are back to being lambs abroad.
And his performance as a captain abroad is quite poor, I would say. But then I think who would take further?
In the Wellington Test in 2014, India squandered a massive lead only to draw the Test match, eventually losing the series 1-0. At Johannesburg in the year 2013, India almost made a mess of it while defending a fourth innings target of 458 runs, saved by a mere 8 runs. At Dominica in the year 2011, Fletcher and Dhoni chose not to go for a modest victory target of 180 runs in 47 overs. They played safe and won the series by the smallest 1-0 margin rather than an emphatic 2-0. And it's deja vu once again in England in the year 2014. Cautious approach by India at Nottingham led their first innings lead slip and saw Joe Root and Broad snatch a precious draw from the jaws of defeat. MS Dhoni has shown his class with the bat in England, but serious doubts remain over his credentials as a Test captain. Sports Bureau headlines today.
I won't be that harsh. Yes, we haven't played well abroad. See, bowling and batting both are interconnected. If you get 400 runs on the board, the bowling looks a lot better because you have the opposition on the mat. The opposition's under pressure because they know they have to get 400, probably more, to get into the series. Your bowlers have enough runs on the board. You know, the mindset is different. You're a lot more attacking when you have runs on the board. But with 148, as soon as it gets past that, you're trying to be defensive. I've always said, and I've said it before, as the great Anil Kumble said, you give runs and I'll win you Test matches, and that's what India needs to do. They need to find a way to score runs in Test matches overseas. They're a much better batting unit than this. It's about believing, it's about fighting hard, and it's about being bull-headed and determined in these conditions.
We have been below par, rather horrible. 150 all out, 170 all out is par for India. In bowling, we have conceded 400 plus, making it a regularity. In fielding, we keep dropping slip catches by the dime and the dozen. So where is the process? The man with the Midas touch seems to have lost it, at least as far as Test cricket is concerned. The fact is, many say Mahendra Singh Dhoni is the best. But some, for sure, will say Mahendra Singh Dhoni is also the worst. And he will have to live with it.
So I think they're getting confused by Jadeja a little bit. So personally, I would play your best 6 batsmen, whoever they are, Dhoni at 7, and your best 4 bowlers. I think
it's not the first time his selection has been questioned. The inclusion of Vinay Kumar at Perth in 2011 and the drafting of an unfit RP Singh at the Oval in 2011, and more recently the inclusion of Stuart Binney at Trent Bridge, all adding to his list of blunders overseas. In fact, in the 27 matches played overseas, MS Dhoni has managed to win only 6, losing 13, while 8 matches have been a draw. At times, it is just inexplicable as to what the skipper is thinking. Why would he not stand up to Jadeja while wicket-keeping on a 5th-day pitch?
I was a bit baffled by some of his decisions, especially standing back to Jadeja at Lords. I just couldn't believe it. I said, am I seeing things here? I had to rub my eyes in disbelief.
He has to take a little bit of responsibility because he's captain. That's what it is. You know, as a captain, you have to bear the brunt. When you win, you get all the accolades. When you lose, you have to understand and take the brickbats. Yes, at times his captaincy has been a little debatable. Show more value to Test cricket. That's what the right word he said. That you value Test cricket enough, and he's got to show that a bit more. because this is the real form of cricket, and playing overseas is a real challenge as a captain.
For the longest time, we are told that India's coach, Duncan Fletcher, has unrivaled technical know-how in his kitty. The point is, he had the record when he was coach of England, winning them the Ashes. Interestingly, when he took over, we were world champions. And the record, 4-0 in England, 4-0 in Australia, losses in South Africa, in New Zealand, and now, perhaps the worst ever, 3-1, but the manner is absolutely horrendous. Compare him with Gary Kirsten. Took over at a time when Indian cricket was at its worst, in Monkeygate. Brought back with Perth, India won at Perth, and then scale up and up and up. In South Africa, we levelled. We became number one. We were world champions. And that's why this contrast is ever so alarming. Under Gary, we were brilliant. Under Duncan, we are horrible. How long do we persist with the man from Zimbabwe? Is anybody from the BCCI listening?
Well, obviously his successes overseas hasn't been great. Yeah, he's had his success in India, but a lot of the coaches have had success in India. A real challenge for all coaches is to do well overseas. He's got to find a way to solve problems for this young Indian team, because this young batting lineup needs help. When you're not playing well, not scoring runs, you need help. And hopefully he has to find a way to do it. He's got time till the World Cup. He will have the tour of the West Indies, he'll have a tour of Australia, 7 more test matches and one-day games before he goes on to the World Cup, and I'm sure he'll be assessed after that. You deliver or somebody else will take the job.
2003, when India travelled to Australia, even the BCCI secretary had predicted a 3-0 disaster. What had happened was unreal. A lead in Adelaide and then almost a series win at Sydney. We travelled to Australia 3 months down the line. Will there be a resurgence? Can we rediscover? Can Indian cricket get its own back?
Oh, absolutely. That's the hope that everyone is living on. Hope eternal that Indian cricket will turn itself around and we wouldn't be lambs abroad for too long again. As we say goodbye from London, we leave you with days when India ruled the world. Thanks a lot for watching.